Before we start, I want to say that only 1% of you are subscribed. Please subscribe because when we reach 1,000 subscribers, I will post a special video for you. The shuttle descended through the thick, swirling mists of Zytherian, its landing lights piercing the alien twilight. Inside, Tom adjusted the straps on his seat, his gaze fixed on the looming jungle landscape below. Beside him, his colleague, Dr. Jonas Hale, tapped on the shuttle's console, displaying a map dotted with ancient ruins. "Looks like we're close," Jonas said, his voice filled with anticipation. "The Zytherian ruins are just beyond that ridge." Tom nodded, eyes narrowing as he scanned the dense canopy. "Can't wait to get out there. The data we could uncover about their civilization." The shuttle bumped, landing gears grappling with the uneven terrain. The pilot, a seasoned spacer named Captain Rennick, glanced back at them. "We're down. Remember, gents, Zytherian's not just mysterious, it's downright dangerous. Watch yourselves out there." As the shuttle doors hissed open, a wave of humid air rushed in. Tom grabbed his pack and stepped out onto the alien soil, the ground soft and springy under his boots. Jonas followed, slinging his own gear over his shoulder. "First time on an exoplanet, Jonas?" Tom asked, leading the way towards a narrow path that snaked into the jungle. Jonas laughed, brushing a hand through his hair. "Yeah, and it's already living up to expectations." They trekked through the dense underbrush, the sounds of unknown creatures echoing around them. After several minutes, they came upon a clearing. In the center lay the entrance to what appeared to be a massive underground complex. "This has to be it," Tom said, consulting his digital map. "The central hub, according to the ancient texts." Jonas whistled softly. "Imagine the secrets it holds." Setting up their equipment, they prepared to descend into the depths of the ruins. Tom strapped on his headlamp, his hands steady despite the adrenaline coursing through him. "Ready to make history." "After you," Jonas replied, grinning. As they ventured deeper, the walls of the tunnel bore intricate carvings, scenes of celestial alignments and mythic beasts. Tom ran his fingers over the etchings, his mind racing with theories. "Look at this," he called out, pointing at a particularly vivid depiction of a creature. "This must be the beast of Zithera. Legend says it was a guardian of the realm, sacred to the Zytherian people." Jonas leaned closer, examining the image. "There's an inscription here," he murmured, translating the alien script. "Only through unity can the sacred be reborn." Could be key to understanding their culture. Their lights flickered as they delved further, the air growing cooler. Suddenly, a low growl echoed through the corridor. They froze, exchanging a look. "Did you hear that?" Tom whispered. "Yeah," Jonas replied, his voice tense. "Doesn't sound like any welcome party." Tom pulled out a compact laser cutter, the standard issue for unknown encounters. "Let's keep moving, but stay alert." They proceeded cautiously, the growl intensifying as they approached a vast chamber. Inside, the source of the noise became apparent, a mechanical device, its gears grinding slowly. "It's some kind of ancient machine," Tom observed, stepping closer. "Looks like it's been running for centuries." Jonas examined the device, his interest piqued. Could be a power source or something more. The chamber suddenly lit up, revealing walls lined with more inscriptions and artifacts. Tom's heart raced as he realized the significance of their find. "This is it, Jonas. We're standing in a piece of history. But let's remember what Rennick said, this place is dangerous. We need to be careful." Jonas nodded, his expression serious. "Absolutely. Let's document everything we can, then head back. We need to share this with the team." As they worked, Tom felt a deep connection to the ancient Zytherians, their knowledge now entrusted to him. Together, he and Jonas captured images and samples, their lights casting long shadows across the forgotten lore of an alien world. The sun had begun its descent, casting long shadows across the dense jungle of Zytherian as Tom and Jonas emerged from the underground complex. Their datapads were heavy with recorded images and scanned inscriptions, each piece a puzzle in the grand tapestry of an alien civilization now long vanished. "Could you imagine living here thousands of years ago?" Jonas mused, wiping sweat from his brow as they trudged back towards their campsite. "Hard to picture, isn't it?" Tom replied, his eyes scanning the tree line. "But these people had a society that might have been as complex as ours, maybe even more so." As they approached the camp, Captain Rennick greeted them with a nod. "Find anything that'll make us rich," he joked, though his eyes held a serious glint. "Possibly richer in knowledge," Tom said, handing over a few of the scans. We need to analyze these tonight. The trio set up around a portable holo display, images from the ruins flickering to life above the device. They pored over the details, architectural blueprints, astronomical alignments, and depictions of the mysterious beast of Zithra. This structure here, Jonas pointed at hologram of a large dome-like building. Looks like it was a central meeting place, possibly even a temple. Rennick leaned closer, his experience as a spacer giving him a unique perspective. You know, the alignment of these doors and windows, they might align with star constellations. Navigation markers, or maybe it's ritualistic? Tom nodded thoughtfully. Makes sense. They could track seasons, predict celestial events. Their discussion was interrupted by a rustle in the bushes nearby. Tom instinctively reached for his laser cutter, but relaxed as another human figure stepped into clearing. Dr. Lena Briggs, a biologist. Evening, folks, Lena said, her voice calm. Heard you found the entrance to the underworld. Anything for me to look at? Plenty, Jonas replied, gesturing to the data pads. Especially if you're interested in alien flora and fauna. The carvings included some pretty detailed botanical illustrations. Lena's eyes lit up as she took a seat. I saw some similar patterns on the leaves here. They might have used plant-based dyes, even medicines. I'll need samples to compare. As the sky darkened, the campsite became a bubble of light and activity. Rennick prepared a simple meal, while the scientists discussed their findings. The conversation drifted from scientific speculation to personal anecdotes, the isolation of space travel bonding the group in unique ways. So, Lena, Rennick asked as they ate, ever regret signing up for a gig this far from Earth? Lena chuckled, shaking her head. Not when we make discoveries like today. It's not just about new planets. It's about seeing the echoes of their people, their lives. Tom listened, his thoughts drifting to the beast of Zithra. There's still so much we don't understand about this place. The beast, the queen. Why keep it all so hidden? Jonas looked up from his meal, his expression serious. Maybe it's not about hiding, but protecting. Could be something down there that's not meant to be disturbed. The group fell silent, considering the weight of their intrusion into a world that wasn't theirs. Tom felt a mix of excitement and unease as he pondered the ancient secrets of Zytherian. Tomorrow, we'll go deeper into the forbidden grounds, Tom finally said, breaking the silence. There's a larger complex west of here, untouched according to the scans. Who knows what we'll find? Lena nodded, her curiosity piqued. Count me in. There might be new species, perhaps even clues to how the environment has changed over millennia. Rennick grinned, clapping his hands together. Then it settled. Another day, another adventure. Just watch your backs out there. Zytherian isn't known for being hospitable. As the night deepened, the camp settled down, the only sounds the distant calls of alien wildlife and the soft murmur of scientists dreaming of ancient worlds. Their quest for knowledge was more than an exploration. It was a journey into the heart of the unknown. Dawn broke over Zytherian, its first light filtering through the dense canopy, casting dappled shadows on Tom and Jonas as they prepared for the day's expedition. The air was thick with moisture, the jungle awakening with the sounds of unseen creatures. Let's check all the gear before we head out, Jonas suggested, organizing the portable scanners and data pads. Tom nodded, double-checking the energy cells and their equipment. We don't want to run out of power halfway through. Lena and Rennick said they'd catch up after recalibrating the environmental sensors. As they shouldered their packs, a rustling from the underbrush drew their attention. Tom reached for his cutter, but Jonas held up a hand. Wait, it might be. A figure emerged, not one of their own, but an alien, tall and slender, its skin shimmering with a metallic hue. The creature stopped, tilting its head, observing them with curious, luminescent eyes. Hello, Tom said cautiously, stepping forward. We come in peace. The alien made a soft, melodic sound, and after a moment it spoke, its voice a strange, musical lilt. I am Kale of Zytherian. You are not the first to come, but perhaps the first to speak. Jonas lowered his pack, his interest piqued. You know our language. Kale nodded, moving closer. I have learned from those who watch. Tom exchanged a look with Jonas. Those who watch? Do you mean the AI, the queen? Yes, the guardian of lore, Kale confirmed. She teaches me your words, your histories. Jonas stepped forward, his tone respectful. We're here to learn, not to disturb. We found your ruins, the carvings of the beast and the queen. Can you tell us more? Kale paused, considering their request. The lore is sacred. But you are seekers. Perhaps understanding can be shared. He gestured for them to follow. Come, I will show you the oracle's grove. There wisdom grows. Curiosity drove their steps as they followed Kale through the twisting paths of the jungle. The vegetation thinned as they approached a clearing, where columns of light streamed onto a circle of towering stones, each inscribed with glyphs. This is the oracle's grove, Kale explained, his hand waving over the stones. Here, the queen's wisdom is shared through the oracles, ancient devices that store knowledge. Tom approached a stone, touching the cool surface. These inscriptions, they're similar to what we saw in the ruins. Kale nodded. The same words told in different voices. Each stone speaks a part of our history. Jonas, ever the scholar, was already scanning the glyphs with his portable device. This could change everything we know about your people, he murmured, absorbing the data. Not just data, Kale corrected gently. It is the soul of Zytherian you hold. As they explored the grove, Kale explained the function of each stone. Some held stories of the stars and their movements, others the genealogies of queens and heroes. When the time is right, the beast awakens, Kale said, his voice dropping to a whisper as they stood before a particularly ornate stone. It binds the life force of Zytherian, renewing, protecting. Tom looked at Jonas, excitement building. Could it be some sort of biological key to the planet's ecosystem? Possibly, Jonas replied. Or something even more profound. Kale, will you help us understand more? We seek to preserve, not plunder. Kale's eyes shimmered, reflecting the morning light. If your hearts are true, the lore shall open. Come, let us wait for your companions. With unity, more shall be revealed. As they settled in the grove to wait for Lena and Rennick, Tom felt a profound sense of privilege and responsibility. They were on the cusp of discoveries that could bridge worlds. Here, amidst the ancient stones of Zytherian, a dialogue had begun, not just between species, but between the past and the future, each eager to learn the other's secrets. Lena and Captain Rennick arrived at the Oracle's Grove just as the first hints of sunlight began to weave through the towering trees, illuminating the ancient stones with a warm, golden glow. Looks like we missed quite the introduction, Lena remarked, noticing the quiet reverence in Tom and Jonas's expressions as they greeted her and Rennick. This is Kale, Tom introduced. He's agreed to help us understand more about the Zytherian lore. Rennick extended his hand, a gesture of goodwill, but Kale only nodded, his understanding of human custom still partial. Welcome to the Grove of Oracles, Kale responded, gesturing towards the circle of stones. What's all this? Rennick asked, looking around with a mixture of awe and curiosity. It's a place of learning, Jonas explained. Each stone here holds part of Zytherian's history, encoded in glyphs. Kale led them to the center of the grove, where a particularly large stone stood. To truly understand, one must accept the Queen's test, he announced, his voice echoing slightly in the open air. Tom furrowed his brows. What kind of test? It is a challenge of worthiness, Kale answered. The Queen's AI guards the deeper knowledge of Zytherian. Only those deemed worthy can access it. How do we prove our worth? Lena asked, her scientific curiosity piqued. Kale pointed to a series of intricate symbols carved into the base of the stone. Decipher these messages. They are the beginning of understanding. If you interpret correctly, the path will open. Jonas immediately stepped forward, examining the glyphs. Looks like some form of pictographic script mixed with mathematical symbols. We'll need to work together on this. Tom joined him, both men poring over the inscriptions, discussing possible meanings and linguistic patterns. Lena pulled out her datapad, ready to document their findings, while Rennick watched, impressed by the teamwork. Think of it like a lock, Kale continued. The right words are the key. As they debated interpretations, the stone suddenly emitted a soft, pulsating light. Looks like you're on the right track, Rennick observed, his tone both surprised and impressed. Here, Tom said, pointing to a sequence of symbols. These could represent the Zytherian concepts of life and renewal. It's a recurring theme in what we've seen so far. Jonas nodded in agreement. And these adjacent figures might be astronomical alignments. Perhaps it's saying that life renews on a cosmic schedule. Kale watched, his expression unreadable. After a moment, he spoke. Your thoughts align closely with our truths. You are proving your respect for our culture. Encouraged, they continued, each symbol slowly building a coherent message about the Zytherian understanding of the universe and their place within it. Finally, after several intense hours, the stone glowed steadily, a beam of light shooting skyward, then redirecting to another stone across the circle. You have passed the initial test, Kale announced. The path to deeper knowledge is open, but the true test of worthiness will require even more. What's next? Rennick asked, his usual skepticism softened by the undeniable reality of what they had just experienced. Kale led them to the newly illuminated stone. This stone will show you the next part of your journey. It is not just about understanding our language or our history, but feeling the essence of Zytherian. As the second stone lit up, revealing more complex glyphs and diagrams, Tom felt a profound connection to the task. We're ready, he said, looking at his team. Let's find out what secret Zytherian has held all these millennia. Together, they stepped closer to the glowing stone, ready to dive deeper into the mysteries of an ancient, advanced civilization, united by a shared quest for knowledge and understanding. The journey through Zytherian's lore was just beginning, and each of them knew that what lay ahead could change not only their lives but possibly the understanding of life in the cosmos. The second stone's illumination cast a deep, azure glow across the faces of Tom, Jonas, Lena, and Rennick as they leaned in closer, their shadows dancing on the ancient earth beneath them. Kale stood aside, a silent sentinel, observing their interaction with the Zytherian knowledge. This script is older, more complex, Jonas murmured, his eyes tracing the looping glyphs that spiraled around the stone's surface. See here, Tom pointed out, these diagrams, they look like genetic markers. Could the Zytherians have been advanced in genetic engineering? Lena, ever the biologist, was quick to engage. That would explain the biodiversity of this planet. Maybe they were manipulating life forms long before we understood DNA. Rennick, meanwhile, was studying a set of symbols that depicted various celestial configurations. And this could be a calendar or a guide for astrological events. They might have used these for navigation or even timing their genetic interventions. The group delved deeper into the translation, each discovery leading to more hypotheses about the Zytherian civilization. Kale observed their progress, occasionally interjecting with cryptic hints that helped guide their interpretations. After several hours of intense study, the stone revealed its core message, a detailed account of a Zytherian ritual involving the beast of Zythera, linking it directly to the planet's life cycle. It seems the beast wasn't just a creature, Tom concluded, stepping back to view the full inscription. It was integral to their environmental and possibly even planetary management systems. Jonas nodded in agreement. Like a living bioreactor, it could have been crucial for renewing the planet's bioenergetic fields. Incredible. As the implications of their findings began to settle, Rennick looked over at Kale. Why show us this? It seems like a big risk, revealing so much about your culture's secrets. Kale's response was measured. Knowledge alone is a path to extinction. Understanding brings renewal. Your species has reached out with genuine curiosity, not conquest. This merits trust. Encouraged by Kale's words, Lena proposed a bold next step. We should try to find this creature, or at least its remains. It could give us unparalleled insights into Zytherian biotechnology. Tom was quick to build on her suggestion. And if the beast is somehow still alive, or its systems are active, we might even be able to assist in some revival or maintenance. Jonas, flipping through the data on his pad, looked up. There's a location here, marked on this ancient map. It's not far from the Queen's domain. We could start there. Then it's settled, Tom declared. We'll set out at first light. Kale, can you guide us there? I will lead you, Kale affirmed, but the path is not without danger. The Queen's domain is protected by more than lore. Rennick, ever the pragmatist, chimed in. Let's make sure we're prepared. We don't know what kind of security or environmental hazards we might face. The team spent the rest of the day planning their expedition, checking their gear, and discussing potential challenges. The atmosphere was charged with a mix of excitement and seriousness, each member aware of the significant leap they were about to take into the unknown. That night, as they camped under the alien stars, the air was alive with the sounds of the Zytherian night, strange calls and rustles in the underbrush, the distant roar of unseen beasts. But inside the circle of their campfire's light, the group felt a rare camaraderie, united by their shared quest for knowledge and the looming adventure. Tomorrow, we might just rewrite the history books, Lena said, her voice mixing awe and anticipation. Or become a footnote in someone else's, Rennick added dryly. Tom looked around at his team, their faces illuminated by the flickering firelight. Whatever happens, we do it together. Let's find the beast of Zithra. Their journey into the heart of an ancient mystery was just beginning, and each of them knew that what they were about to discover could change everything they knew about life, science, and the legacy of a lost civilization. As the first light of dawn crested the horizon, Tom, Jonas, Lena, and Rennick, guided by Kale, made their way through the thick underbrush of Zytherian towards the coordinates marked on the ancient map. The jungle was alive with the sounds of chirping and rustling, a reminder of the planet's vibrant ecosystem. According to the map, we should be close, Jonas said, wiping the sweat from his brow as he checked the digital display on his device. Tom, leading the group, nodded. Let's keep the pace. We need to reach the site before midday if we're going to have enough light to work. The terrain grew increasingly rugged, and Lena pointed out various plant species that matched some of the genetic markers they had identified from the Zytherian texts. These plants may have been genetically modified by the Zytherians for medicinal purposes, she speculated, collecting samples as they moved. Kale, ever the silent observer, suddenly halted, raising his hand for quiet. The group stopped, listening intently. A low, distant rumbling could be heard, growing steadily louder. It's coming from that direction, Kale said, pointing towards a dense thicket that bordered a steep ridge. Rennick readied his equipment, his voice low. Could be anything. Let's approach with caution. As they edged closer, the source of the sound became apparent. A massive, cave-like entrance was partially obscured by overgrown vines, and from within came the rhythmic sound of breathing, deep and sonorous. This has to be it, Tom whispered, his pulse quickening. The lair of the beast. They equipped their headlamps and entered the cave, the air cool and damp. Inside, the dim light revealed a vast chamber, the walls etched with more glyphs and images of the beast, depicted with reverence and awe. At the chamber's center lay the beast of Zithra itself, far larger than any of them had imagined. It resembled a giant sloth, its fur matted and overgrown with moss, its chest rising and falling with each deep breath. It's alive, Lena gasped, her voice a mix of wonder and disbelief. Jonas approached slowly, his scanner in hand. It's in some kind of stasis. See here, he pointed at a series of devices that appeared to be life support systems, integrated seamlessly with the creature's body. Tom knelt beside the beast, examining the connections. These must be the biotechnological enhancements the Zytherians developed. It's like they turned the creature into a living part of the planet's ecosystem. Kale stepped forward, his voice solemn. The beast sustains the life force of Zytherian. Without it, the planet weakens. Rennick looked around, his strategic mind ticking. So, how do we wake it? And more importantly, should we? Kale responded. To awaken the beast, you must reconnect the life circuits. The conduits have decayed over time. The ceremony must be performed, as depicted here. He gestured to the glyphs showing Zytherians engaged in what appeared to be a ritualistic dance around the beast. Tom and Jonas exchanged a look. We'll need to repair the circuits first, Tom decided. Lena, do you think you can synthesize the necessary biocomponents from the samples you collected? Lena nodded, setting up her portable lab equipment. I'll start with the genetic analysis. Hopefully, we can bioengineer the necessary parts. Jonas worked alongside her, offering his knowledge of Zytherian technology, while Tom and Rennick prepared the chamber, clearing debris and repositioning the life support devices. Hours passed as the team worked together, each member focused on their task with a single goal in mind, to revive the beast and, by extension, the planet itself. Finally, Lena held up a small, glowing tube. Got it. This should do the trick. Carefully, they integrated the newly synthesized biocomponents into the beast systems. As the final piece clicked into place, the chamber trembled slightly, the air tingling with energy. The beast stirred, its eyes opening slowly, a deep, resonant sound filling the chamber as it took its first conscious breath in centuries. We did it, Tom breathed, awestruck. We actually did it. The team stepped back as the beast slowly rose, its movements deliberate and gentle. It regarded them, its eyes wise and ancient, before turning to Kale, who bowed deeply. You have done what many believed impossible, Kale said, his voice filled with emotion. You have awakened the guardian of Zytherian. As the beast lumbered past them towards the entrance of the cave, sunlight streaming in behind it, the team watched in silent reverence, knowing they had not just witnessed, but participated in a moment of profound historical and ecological significance. The cave echoed with the deep, resonant sounds of the beast as it moved. Its awakening had cast a palpable energy throughout the chamber, felt by Tom, Jonas, Lena, Rennick, and Kale. They followed the beast outside, where the morning light had now fully risen, bathing the ancient landscape in a warm glow. "Look at the vegetation," Lena observed, pointing to the previously wilted plants near the cave that seemed to perk up, their colors deepening. "It's responding to the beast's activity." "This is phenomenal." Tom was busy recording the environmental changes on his datapad. This could be the key to understanding how to reverse ecological damage on other planets. Jonas, more focused on the cultural implications, turned to Kale. "Is there more to this ritual, something that ensures the beast's continued vitality?" Kale nodded solemnly. "Yes, the reconnection of the life circuits is but the first phase. The true essence of the ritual involves harmonizing our energies with that of the beast. It is a sacred dance meant to synchronize the planet's bionetwork." Rennick raised an eyebrow. "A dance? You're telling us we need to dance to keep this thing going?" Kale smiled slightly. "More than just a dance, it's an act of life balance. Each step and movement reflects the harmonious interactions of all life forms on Zytherian. You must feel the rhythm of the planet through the beast." "Let's get to it then," Tom said, his tone eager but respectful. "Teach us this dance, Kale." Kale instructed them to form a circle around a beast, which had settled into a clearing surrounded by towering Zytherian trees. He demonstrated the steps, a series of flowing, rhythmic movements that mimicked the natural motions of the Zytherian landscape, the undulating hills, the gentle sway of the treetops, and the circular paths of the orbiting moons. Jonas watched and mirrored Kale's movements carefully. "There's a pattern to this, a repetition that feels like breathing." "Yes," Kale confirmed. "It is the breathing of Zytherian you emulate. Do you feel the energy?" As they danced, the ground beneath them seemed to pulse, a gentle vibration that grew with their movements. Lena laughed softly, her skepticism fading. "It's like the planet's alive under our feet." They continued, growing more confident in their movements. The beast itself seemed to react, its large eyes watching, a low hum emanating from its throat. Rennick, who had been hesitant at first, now moved with a surprising grace. "I never thought I'd be dancing on an alien planet," he said, a broad grin on his face. Tom felt a surge of connection, not just to the team and the beast, but to Zytherian itself. It was as though the dance was bridging worlds, intertwining their destinies. As the ritual concluded, the environment around them visibly thrived, flowers bloomed with vibrant intensity, and the air felt fresher, filled with the fragrant scents of alien flora. Kale stopped, placing his hands together in a sign of completion. "The ritual is done. The beast, and through it the planet, has accepted your efforts. Zytherian thanks you." They gathered around, breathing heavily from the exertion, their faces flushed with joy and a sense of accomplishment. Jonas, always the thinker, pondered the implications. "What we learned here could redefine human interaction with alien ecosystems. We participated in a planetary rejuvenation process." Lena added, "And we didn't just observe, we were part of it." "That's a first for any human team." Tom looked around at his companions, a proud and humble smile spreading across his face. "We came here as researchers, but we're leaving as part of Zytherian's legacy." As they walked back to the camp, the sun setting behind them, the planet seemed to hum in approval, a sound that resonated deep within each of them, a reminder of the delicate balance they had helped restore. They had not only awakened the beast but also rejuvenated a world, forging an unforgettable bond with the once mysterious planet of Zytherian. The early morning light filtered through the dense canopy of Zytherian, casting a serene glow over the campsite where Tom, Jonas, Lena, and Rennick were packing up their equipment for the last time. The air was vibrant with the newfound vitality of the planet, a silent testament to the transformation they had witnessed and contributed to. "So, this is it, huh?" Rennick said, folding up a tent with methodical precision. "After today, we head back to Earth with stories that sound like they came straight out of a science fiction novel." Tom nodded, securing a container on his back. "Not just stories, Rennick. We've got data, samples, and recordings. We've made a discovery that could change the way we view life on other planets." Jonas, who was checking the data integrity on his portable device, looked up and smiled. "We did more than just observe. We interacted, we changed things for the better." "Who would have thought that dance would actually work?" Lena laughed, stepping in with her biological samples safely stored. "I would have been skeptical if I hadn't been a part of it myself. The symbiosis between the beast and Zytherian is something that has to be seen to be believed." Kale approached them, his expression one of mixed emotions. "The time for departure draws near. I find myself reluctant to see you leave." Tom extended his hand, which Kale took after a moment of hesitation, having learned the gesture. "We owe you a lot, Kale. Without your guidance, we wouldn't have understood the depth of Zytherian's secrets." Kale nodded solemnly. "And without your openness to learn and adapt, the ritual could not have succeeded. You have become part of this planet's lore." Rennick clapped his hands together, breaking the emotional buildup. "All right, team, let's do a final check. We don't want to leave anything important behind, especially not after all we've been through." As they made their rounds, ensuring no trace of their camp remained, Jonas turned to Tom. "You think we'll ever come back here?" Tom looked around at the thriving jungle, its colors more vivid than when they had arrived. "I hope so. There's still so much more to learn. But for now, we've got enough to keep us busy for years." Lena, overhearing the conversation, added, "And I've got enough samples to revolutionize xenobiology. Wait till they see this back at the lab." They gathered their gear and started the trek back to where their shuttle awaited. The walk was quiet, each member of the team lost in thoughts of the incredible journey they had undertaken. As the shuttle came into view, Tom paused, looking back at the lush landscape. "Zytherian has taught us a lot, but I think the biggest lesson is about our own potential. When we work together, respecting and learning from the universe, there's no limit to what we can achieve." Jonas nodded, his eyes reflecting a deep appreciation for the words. "Here's to the next adventure. May it be just as enlightening." The team boarded the shuttle, their hearts heavy yet hopeful. As the engines ignited and the shuttle began its ascent, they watched through the windows as Zytherian receded below them, its mystery slightly less inscrutable than before. Kale's parting words echoed in Tom's mind. The planet became a speck in the vastness of space. Only a foolish human dares save the ancient Ravenous Queen's beast. They had dared, and in doing so had saved more than just a beast. They had helped rejuvenate an entire world. Tom felt a profound connection not just to his team or their mission, but to the broader quest for knowledge that defined humanity's reach into the stars. As the shuttle sped towards Earth, the team shared a silent, collective sense of accomplishment, their minds already racing with the possibilities of their next great adventure.